All right, welcome. Today, we're going to peel back thousands of years of history to get to the real origins of astrology. And, it's a story that has way less to do with your daily horoscope and a whole lot more to do with the rise and fall of actual empires. So let me ask you this. Where did your zodiac sign really come from? I mean, when you think about it, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it personality traits? Maybe those online compatibility quizzes? Well, whatever it is, I can promise you the system that defines your sign has a history that's way deeper and honestly way more important than you probably imagine. Yeah, because the original reason people looked up at the stars, it had nothing to do with understanding yourself. It was all about predicting the future. And I'm not talking about your personal future, but the fate of kings, of entire kingdoms, and really the survival of a whole civilization. So to really get to the roots of all this, we have to go way back. I mean, back to a time when the sky was everything. It was the ultimate calendar, the clock, the divine messenger, all rolled into one. For these early civilizations, stargazing wasn't some casual hobby. It was literally a matter of life and death. And a lot of this begins with this one really crucial astronomical event, the heliacal rising. So what is that? Well, it's that first day when a star becomes visible again in the eastern sky right before sunrise after it's been hidden by the sun's glare for a while. Now, for ancient people, this was so much more than just a pretty sight. It was a signal. It was like a divine announcement that something big was about to happen down here on Earth. And there's no better example of this than ancient Egypt. The Egyptians knew, they absolutely knew, that right after the heliacal rising of Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, the Nile River would flood. And this flood was everything. It brought the fertile silt they needed for their crops. So this one event in the sky kicked off their entire year. The sky was literally telling them, get ready, the flood that ensures you'll eat this year is coming. But here's the thing, this wasn't just practical signs for them. It was deeply spiritual. The Egyptians saw Sirius as the goddess Sopdet up in the heavens, and she was tied directly to Isis, the great mother goddess. So when that star rose, it wasn't just an astronomical event. No way. It was a goddess returning to them, announcing the renewal of life itself. For them, the physical world and the divine world were completely intertwined. Okay, so now let's jump over to Mesopotamia and check in on the Babylonians. These guys were just incredible observers. But while the Egyptians were focused on stars to time their agriculture, the Babylonians were tracking the planets to predict the fate of their empire. To them, stuff like an eclipse, that was a divine message about the king, about the health of the whole kingdom. This is what we call mundane astrology. It's all about big picture world events, not about you or me. And crucially for our story, they're the ones who sliced up the path of the sun into 12 equal parts, giving us the very first zodiac. So you've got the Egyptians and the Babylonians laying all this incredible groundwork. But the astrology that we think of today, that was really forged in ancient Greece. The Greeks took all these older traditions and honestly, they turned them into something completely new, something revolutionary. And you can see that revolution right here. On one side, you have the Babylonian and Egyptian way. It's all about the feet of the kingdom. On the other side, the Greek way. Suddenly, it's about personal destiny. This wasn't just a little tweak. It was a total reinvention of the whole idea. And what drove this massive shift? Well, it was something at the very core of Greek culture. Their obsession with the individual's life, their purpose, their fate. So, how'd they pull this off? Well, they basically mixed together three really powerful ingredients. First, you have their philosophy, which gave them the why, the reason to even care about an individual's fate in the first place. Second, they brought their mastery of math and geometry, which let them calculate everything with a new level of precision. And third, they poured their own rich mythology into the mix, connecting the planets to the personalities of their gods. Jupiter becomes the big, expansive Zeus, and Mars is the aggressive Ares. All of a sudden, the cosmos felt personal. It felt relatable. And this unique blend of ideas, this recipe, it all came together and reached its peak in one of the ancient world's most incredible cities. This is the place where the modern birth chart, the personal horoscope as we know it, was finally born. And that city was Alexandria, down in Egypt. Right, so after Alexander the Great's conquests, Alexandria just exploded into this unrivaled intellectual hub. It was a genuine melting pot. You had Greek philosophy, Babylonian mathematics, and ancient Egyptian star lore all bumping up against each other. And it was right here, in this incredible city, that scholars mixed it all together to create the detailed system of the personal horoscope. Okay, so let's break down what they actually built. First, they took that 12-sign zodiac from the Babylonians. Then they added their own massive innovation, the 12 houses. This sliced up the chart into specific areas of life, career, family, relationships. Then they assigned a planetary ruler to each sign, and using all that Greek geometry, they calculated the aspects. These are the critical angles between planets that show you where there's harmony or conflict. And boom, that was it. That's the blueprint for a modern birth chart, right there. And if you want a perfect visual, like a single image that captures this entire cultural fusion, you've got to look at the Dendera zodiac. It was found in an Egyptian temple, but it was made during the Greco-Roman period. What you see is the familiar zodiac we know, but it's arranged in this circular map, which was totally not how the Egyptians usually did things. It's just this stunning, beautiful blend of Egyptian ideas and Greek astronomy all in one. And I mean, you can't overstate how important this thing is. The scholar John H. Rogers called it, quote, the only complete map that we have of ancient sky. Just think about that. It's a snapshot of the heavens, seen through the combined eyes of all these incredible ancient cultures. So you've got all these amazing ideas swirling around Alexandria, but it took one man to really organize it all into the definitive system we still use. That man was the astronomer and astrologer Claudius Ptolemy. He wrote a book called the Tetrabiblos, and it basically became the Bible of Western astrology. He took everything, the zodiac, the houses, the aspects, and put it all together into one logical, coherent system. And his work was considered the absolute authority on the subject for more than 1,500 years. Just incredible. And that system that Ptolemy wrote down, it didn't just fade away with the ancient world. Not at all. Instead, it went on this absolutely incredible journey through history. It was passed down from one great civilization to the next, like a torch, all the way to our modern world. First stop, Rome. The Roman Empire completely embraced this new form of astrology. And this wasn't some fringe belief system, okay? We're talking about emperors, guys like Augustus and Tiberius, who had court astrologers on staff. They used this personal math of the stars to help make huge political and military decisions. And because Rome was so massive, their adoption of it helped spread the whole practice across Europe and beyond. Now, after Rome fell, all of this knowledge could have just vanished. Seriously, it came that close. But it was saved. It was preserved and even improved by brilliant scholars during the Islamic Golden Age. They translated all those Greek texts into Arabic, they fine-tuned the math, and they made sure this entire system survived through the Middle Ages. And then, from the Islamic world, that knowledge flowed right back into Europe during the Renaissance. You had these ancient texts being translated from Arabic into Latin, and suddenly, astrology has this massive comeback. I mean, it was being used in royal courts. It was being studied seriously at universities. It was even used to help make decisions in things like politics and medicine. And that brings us all the way to today. That same fundamental system, the 12 signs, the houses, the aspects, the whole shebang that Ptolemy organized back in Alexandria, that is the very engine running inside that astrology app on your phone. That line, from those ancient stargazers to our digital world, is a direct, unbroken thread. So that leaves us with one last big question. You think about it. This system started as a way to predict floods and the fate of kings. It was completely transformed by Greek philosophy and then carefully passed down through empires for centuries. So after more than 2,000 years, what does it say about us that we still look up at that same ancient map of the stars, hoping to find a little piece of ourselves?